Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with me here today is a humorous fellow who just wants to game, but then some funny stuff happens. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the one, the only, Failboat.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you for having me on, Bald Gamer. Can I call you Bald Gamer? I just realized I never asked for your name. It feels kind of weird. Hey there, Bald.
That's actually a good thing, because I was going to ask you, what can I call you? I mean, I remember when you first rated me a while back, I called you Failbot.
It's great because a lot of people just call me Fail, and so I think this would be a great conversation if I just called you Bald and you called me Fail. This great, mutually enjoyable experience. Nah, you can call me Daniel.
Daniel? Well, then you can call me Rick.
Awesome.
Well, here's the deal. I wanted to ask you a series of questions about some of the various games you played, your journey as a YouTuber, and of course, well, you. However, I thought we could also spice things up by allowing you the opportunity to royally kick my butt in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the viewer's pleasure. Now, for the audience, just so you know, we're going to record the gameplay separately. Otherwise, I think it's safe to say that we both get super sidetracked with a bit of too much funny stuff happening. So, but before we begin, let's just take us back to Chibi Failboat. There's no denying you're a gamer at heart, but what were some of the games or franchises that got you into gaming in the first place?
Okay, so pretty much, I'm trying to think about what my first games were. I mean, in the very beginning, as far back as I can go, I remember playing, oh gosh, it was a Toy Story and Star Wars game, not the same game, but two different games that were both like around the same time in my life. I swear it was on. I can never find them. This is why I'm stammering. I can never find these stupid games. I've scoured for them. It was some sort of Toy Story game. It was some sort of Star Wars game that you could like play as R2-D2, and you can in the Toy Story game you play as like Buzz Lightyear walking around like Andy's room. It's like the faint memory I have. I played that a lot. I later ended up playing Pokemon. Pokemon was pretty much one of my main entries into the world of Nintendo. The biggest entry into my world of Nintendo was Super Smash Bros. Melee, where I played it a lot with my friend growing up. And that actually introduced me to Kirby and Smash Bros. Oh my god, Smash Bros. Has introduced me to so many things throughout my life. But that introduced me to Nintendo, that introduced me to Kirby. That started my pursuit of making Kirby comics back in like the original Brawl like forum post days. I love doing that, and slowly but surely I started playing Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, and kept on going up and up from there until eventually Minecraft took over my life, and that's when the channel was born.
Well, you mentioned Kirby, and we'll get to him later, but would it be safe to say that he's your favorite video game character?
Oh, that's such a weighted question. He's definitely up. Like he's definitely. I have no favorite video game character, but like I have like 5 who are all equal. Definitely Kirby. Definitely. I mean, I absolutely adore Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is one and the same for me. God, is it okay to say Steve from Minecraft? Like that character, and not that character, but what he represents and then what that entire game represents it means a lot to me. Oh God, for some reason I put a lot of thought into like series and games. I never put a lot of thought into just straight up video game characters. I'll come back to you on that one day.
It's a tough question to put on the spot,
because there's a lot of ones with like good stories, and I'm like, oh God, but they're really good, but are they in the top 5? That's a lot of soul searching I'll need to do.
Well, here's another fun little warm-up question. And I don't know if you know this, but just in case, congratulations. You're a funny guy.
Thank you.
Was there ever any role models, comedians, or other content creators that you'd say you looked up to or watched growing up that helped influence your unique sense of humor?
So, I have a very, what's it called when you listen to someone, commentator talk and it sort of rubs off on you? Not impressionable, I guess is the word I'm going for. Impressionable kind of commentary or personality. So growing up, I watched a lot of In Littlewood. He was the main content creator that inspired me to do content creation. Tobuscus Gaming. I remember a lot of my early Minecraft stuff had definitely roots from how he would talk and present himself. Edit ZP was a friend of In Littlewood, had a very unique way of talking that definitely made its way into my commentary at some point. Nowadays, I definitely find myself doing like having some like Northern Lion almost kind of commentary moments. Pretty much as I've gone through YouTube, I've watched so many different kinds of creators, and they definitely leave a mark on my commentary. Those guys. Oh, who else? Mitch Hedberg. When I used to do like a small bit of stand-up, I used to love listening to Mitch Hedberg. Can't think of anyone else off the top of my head that's been like definingly influential in my commentary, but I think those people right there are a solid base.
Well, now let's backtrack a bit, because I didn't even know this. So you used to do stand-up?
Oh, God, not at all professionally. Not at all professionally. It was one of those hobbies for me as a kid of, you know, whenever the summer camp had, like, a stand-up night or, you know, a presentation night, I like to try and prepare some type of material and get up on front of a stage and read that off. It was definitely not as like, I barely even remember any of it. I just remember being up in front of the stage, and that's pretty much it. But it was a nice base to being able to learn how to talk in front of people.
Well, yeah, I mean it's still pretty cool, because you know it's one thing to do this on the internet behind a keyboard and a monitor, but it's another thing to be up on an actual live audience, you know, and do it. So. Oh
yeah, I mean it's a completely different task. Like live streaming, even if I have like 1,000 people watching me. It's one of those, like, okay, you know, I can see the number reads 1,000. I can picture roughly 1,000 people, but I'm not actively picturing 1,000 people. I'm here. I am. I'm just sitting in my chair in front of my microphone with my own drink, with my own food, with my own stuff. You know, I can just read off and speak however I like to, and you know, if the people stick around, they stick around, and that's a great feeling.
Well, speaking of which, let's start digging into the YouTube side of things. So. What would you say inspired you to become a content creator on YouTube to begin with?
So like I brought up a little bit before, in the Littlewood, he did Minecraft Let's Plays, and I'm trying to remember what specifically brought it on. Pretty much in high school. I started YouTube in my junior year of high school. I was always a very, very shy, introverted person. I also have ADHD. I very much couldn't read a lot of social situations, so I was never able to really be myself in these social moments. I was very soft-spoken on that end. And I saw a bunch of content creators at the time, like the Yogscast in Littlewood, those guys. They were doing live streaming at the time. I very specifically remember a live stream from in Littlewood on, I think it was just straight up called like livestream.com back then. And I was like, you know, this sounds pretty fun to do. I definitely want to give a shot at this. And of all things, I was like, you know, let me give this a go. And I eventually downloaded, I think it was called Procaster, the original software I used to stream. And I gave a shot at streaming for a month, and I got very, very addicted to it.
Well, speaking of getting addicted to it, I know it's a cliche thing to ask, but did you ever think you'd find this much success in doing it?
Oh, I mean, definitely not. I feel anyone who finds success in a creative field never intends for it to be big in the beginning, because a lot of people with the mentality of it is going to be big in the beginning never make it off the ground because they can never achieve the level of success they're immediately looking to meet, which is a issue I've seen a lot of times in the past. It was a crazy time for me because I started out with live streaming before doing YouTube like about a month or so later. I remember like if I hit 10 people, I was actually popping off. I mean, I remember on YouTube when I first hit 100 subscribers, I remember literally jumping up from the couch. That was such a awesome feeling. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much my immediate thoughts on that.
Well, you've been around a while, like you mentioned, and you've covered a wide variety of games and franchises. But if you had to choose, what would you say has been your favorite game or franchise that you've covered?
So my channel is based around variety. In my last year or two of success, because I've been on YouTube for just under 8 years now, and the first 4 to 5 years were all Minecraft, especially in the beginning. Like the first 3-4 years were very solidly solo Minecraft. Before I started to eventually work in some general variety. My Nintendo stuff never really got too many views back then. It was all like hard focus on Minecraft until eventually, you know, the Switch came out. I did a Mario Odyssey video, and that's when the channel sort of popped off and blew up. And since then, I haven't really had a foundation of a game to do content on. Splatoon has been amazing. I love Splatoon so much. If I had to pick a single favorite game I've ever covered, though, I really do have to say Minecraft. Minecraft was such a fun time. Like, I did so much in Minecraft. Minecraft is one of those games that every time I boot it up feels like the only game that I have that feels like legitimately another life in it. I've seen everything that I could in Minecraft. I mean, in more recent days, Minecraft has had new updates and such, and I haven't been able to experience those as much. But before, I'd say a year or two ago, I knew everything about that game. And so from doing content about it to making friends with it and to just being friendly and playing the game and meeting so many people through like servers and things like that and very close friends, it would definitely have to be Minecraft as my favorite game I've covered on the channel.
Well, you mentioned meeting new friends and things of that nature, so you have come to know a lot of great people over the years, and you have formed what seems to be a wonderful community. What's the best part of that, and how does it make you feel to know that you've impacted so many people?
Best part about having a community. Oh, even the idea of having a community is actually wild to me. It's one of those things I mentioned that, you know, when I was in high school, I was very shy and soft-spoken. And looking back on that, the idea that there are people who actively listen and mention my memes to other friends who know my memes is wild to me. Like someone actually, I believe it's Nether. God, I'll hate myself if I mistake that name. I'm 90% sure it's Nether though. One of the members of my community, they sent me this video of them with another member of my community that they just know in person. They were at like a bowling alley and they were like screaming "shot put" as they're like throwing a bowling ball down the alley, which is a little reference on my channel that I made 1 or 2 times. Seeing that in person, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Seeing what I say from behind my monitor translate to what other people say and what they do in their lives is probably the most wild thing. Like at the last PAX East I went to, I had my first sort of proper fan meetup, and people gave me art, and people gave me little perler beads of like my characters. That part, when it turns physical or when it turns into something outside of directly what I'm doing, or outside of the technological world, you know, that I broadcast myself into, that's what makes me realize, like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. Like, this is actually something so wild I never thought would ever occur in the very beginning of the channel.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, speaking of impacting others in the community, let's just go ahead and talk about this, stream raids. Because I know you're one of the larger YouTubers that actually still continues to do them. So how does it feel when you raid a smaller channel, like my own, for example, when you did back in the day, and just seeing the reactions and smiles you put on these creators' faces?
So one of the first big goals I had when I was a content creator, I look back at this, I actually very recently remembered this moment, was in the beginning I wanted to be able to get enough of a following that if I ever saw someone really putting the time to make good content and really focusing on doing what they love and showing a lot of promise in doing what they love, that I would be able to throw people over to them and be like, hey, look at this cool person, they're doing a cool thing. And they would just get like 1,000 people instantly looking at them. And I realized like literally like a week or two ago, like I'm able to do that with raids. I never put it like one and one together, but what I originally, or one of my original goals on YouTube, one of the things I was like, if I can ever do this, I've made it. One of those situations is possible through raiding. Raiding is actually amazing. And I really wish YouTube would add a more proper way of raiding like Twitch does. Because whenever I raid, the people that raid, I'm so happy that people take their time and, you know, go out of their way to participate in raids. Because it is sometimes pretty out of the way. They have to click a link, and sometimes they have to download an extra application if it links them to YouTube Gaming, and sometimes the YouTube linking process can not work, just straight out not work. People will just say like, the raid didn't work, link didn't work, and at the end of the day, only sometimes like 1/10 of the people watching my stream will actually go to the raid. But every time, it's so amazing. I actually have a sticky note on it that actually is a tiny URL link to one of my favorite raid reactions, because it was just so wholesome to me. And I love the feeling of being able to share the audience that I've gained over the years with other people, and giving my audience the chance to see other creators that I think are just amazing.
I can't speak from everyone, but thank you, man, for doing that for other creators.
Actually, one thing I want to say on raids is sometimes I feel almost bad because I'll raid someone and the people who participate in the raid will just go like a little too ham in the chat. And it's like when I it almost feels like when I introduce a friend and the friend just starts doing something a little bit weird and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, they're awesome people. And what I love to do is I specifically love raiding with hearts, because when people like raid someone's chat and they say like, Failboat the god sent us egg, and they'll like say like a random word, and they'll all start saying the random word. I'm like, oh no. Like, I didn't want to like trouble the streamer. I just want to send people over to support them in the content. That's why I love doing heart raids, because no one will ever get mad at heart raids. And even if people do take it a little far sometimes, and they make the raid message go on for like 10 minutes past when the raid message usually goes on for, it doesn't matter as much if it's a heart, because it's just it's wholesome support. So that's something I love about raids, is you can have the sharing of a community, but on the other hand, sometimes I worry that there are going to be streamers, and there have been streamers that will say, oh god, wow, Failboat just brought his posse over of people just spamming egg. Could you like not do that again? And I'm like, oh geez, sorry about that. So there are always some streams that I know will appreciate, that are trying to grow. And some people are just trying to keep a quiet stream, so sometimes raiding is a little bit of a double-edged sword.
Well, we kind of got sidetracked there, so let's get talking about some gaming specifics. I was looking through some of the oldest videos, and you mentioned them yourself, and those are the Minecraft ones. So looking back, what was it about Minecraft that made you think, hey, I can do this, I should start making YouTube videos on this?
Oh, it's definitely the big thing at the time. Like, Minecraft, when I first started YouTube about 7-8 years ago, oh, it was the thing. Like, everyone was playing Minecraft, everyone was making content on Minecraft, because Minecraft is Legos. It literally is just, you know, you build your own world, you build your own situation. One of the great appeals to me for Minecraft was I did mod showcases, mod show-offs, where I would find unique, fun mods from a Minecraft forum I browsed, and I would just simply make videos on them. And that, in and of itself, was just so fun to me, being able to be like, hey, so everybody, this is the Testificate Smells Bad mod or something, and this is what it adds. I just go through and showcase the mod in that kind of a presentation way. That open flexibility of Minecraft, and being able to be like, oh, what should I do this time? Should I do a video on the update? Should I show off some cool contraption? I spent a lot of time with the game, and because of that, I was able to spend a lot of time with YouTube and a lot of time with the audience.
Well, earlier you mentioned that, you know, Steve from Minecraft was one of your favorite characters. So how excited would you be if Steve was announced as a playable character for Smash Bros. Ultimate?
So actually, speaking about Minecraft on the channel, I made a tweet, and I will stand to this tweet, that if Steve from Minecraft gets into Smash Brothers, I will 100% become a Minecraft channel again for 1 month as a callback.
I think that's a great idea.
I will totally return to my roots. I will do mod show-offs. I will do everything that I used to do on the old Minecraft in that time era, and just bring it back to the channel.
But do you think it's likely that could happen?
Oh, totally. I completely believe with how big Minecraft is if not, is it the most played game? Or not the most played, the most purchased game? I know it's in the top 3, if not the number 1 slot, but yeah, I think it has a solid chance.
I mean, especially now with the talks, I mean, whatever that case may be, nobody really truly knows what's going to happen from it. But with the talks between Xbox and, you know, Nintendo, I think it's more possible than ever.
We got Joker from Persona, man. Anything is possible now. Apart from Final Fantasy, we really are getting the Ultimate game, but I could talk about Ultimate forever. That's another world.
Well, let's dive right into that world, because on the topic of Smash, you're a bit of a competitive Smash player. So what do you think it is about the game that brings communities together in such a wonderful fashion that most competitive games struggle to do on their own?
I feel Nintendo is such a household product. If I showed Smash to my family, they'd still be able to identify some characters. They'd be like, oh, that's Mario, that's Pikachu, and then they'd say that's Pikachu again when I show them Ivysaur. It's something that everyone can sort of look at and understand, even in the newer games now. Even if you never cared about Nintendo, you can still see, like Snake, you can see Cloud, you can see all these wonderful characters across all these different franchises. And the game has multiple layers to it because you can play with items, you could play with hazards on, you could just play whatever stage. I mean, one of my favorite things was, as a camp counselor, I did like a 1 versus 6 in 8-player Smash for Smash 4, and you know, all the kids were trying to take down me, but I had like team attack on, so they would end up hitting each other. That was one of my favorite times in Smash Brothers, and that was with people who couldn't care less about a competitive world. And then of course, you know, Smash Brothers has an extremely in-depth competitive viewing and competitive community. So I think just by nature how much Smash Brothers covers as a game really brings so many people together, because they meet new people who also share that similar interest.
Here's a fun one for you. Top 3 favorite and least favorite fighters in Smash.
Top favorite fighters in Smash: Jigglypuff, Mewtwo, Kirby. Least favorite: Mega Man, Ryu, and I never really had a third. But Mega Man and Ryu I hated just because I have such a horrid control scheme for Smash 4 where I use like the C stick to do jabs and neutral airs, and so playing Mega Man with his weird pellet neutral game was very, very strange to me, and I never knew how to play as Ryu, so I just completely disliked not being able to play that character to its fullest extent. But for Smash Brothers, like favorite characters, definitely the characters I grew up playing: Jigglypuff, Kirby, and then my big Smash 4 main, Mewtwo.
Do you have a preferred rule set when playing Smash?
I play a lot of competitive Smash Brothers, so it'll probably go down as a tournament standard. But aside from that one, because that one is like its own little universe, its own little community. Aside from that, I adore playing Smash Brothers with bumpers on. Bumper Smash Brothers is you can get so much stupid jank from it. It's so fun. And aside from that, Pokeballs on low is another fun little gimmicky kind of way to play the game. And outside of all that, because there's so many ways to play this stupid game, my favorite to play with my competitive Smash friends in a casual setting is a mode called Kingmaker. And I forget who named it, but it's called Kingmaker because it's 3 versus 3, and one person is the king. If they die, then their team is out. Their team loses, and the other 2 people have to run off the stage. The other 2 people, if they die, nothing happens. Nothing matters. There's no share stocking. It's just about protecting your one king on both the 2 teams of 3. And that one is, that's such a fun little mode.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot of fun. And speaking of characters, let's just talk about DLC. Do you have ones that you think you'd like to see appear?
So I wanted Inkling for so long in Smash 4 to the point where I learned how to play Meat Gunner solely because they had an Inkling costume. Now that they're in Smash, and now that Bandanity has been more or less deconfirmed, because I believe Reggie said a couple months ago when Joker was revealed that every DLC fighter from the Fighter Pass would be from a series that has not been in Smash Brothers yet. So since Bandanity has been deconfirmed, I really don't have a pick other than Steve from Minecraft. Steve from Minecraft has taken all my chips. I'm putting all my faith in that character being confirmed. Outside of that, I'm actually pretty neutral on whatever Nintendo sends my way. So far, they've done a great job at wowing me with this game, and I want them to continue doing so.
Do you think this will be the last we see of the Smash as a franchise, or will it inevitably continue with the new entry?
So one thought I had, if they do another Smash Brothers game, I don't think they're going to do another everyone is here kind of thing. I think they're going to do here's 16 characters from the classic Ultimate roster, and everyone else is different. They just bring in a bunch of newcomers, a bunch of new things, and scrap so many of the old cast. Only like the 16 most important characters would stick around, and I think they would honestly just call it Ultimate 2. Because adding another name past that, they might add another name past that. That might not be a smart branding thing if they called it Ultimate 2. But if they called it Ultimate 2, it's like, here is like the alternate universe where Waluigi is playable, where all these other characters are playable. Because adding more to the already ginormous Smash Ultimate roster has got to be a killer for development time. And I wonder if they would consider bringing in a bunch of new characters. Maybe with like instead of 70 characters, 40 or 50 characters again. But people are so used to playing as their old characters that, frankly, I think Nintendo has written themselves so deep into how Smash Brothers works as a franchise, or as a series, that I have no idea what they're gonna do, and whatever it is, it's gonna be very ambitious.
Well, whether in Smash Ultimate or a future installment, what would you like to see changed or improved?
More in single player. We'd have nothing in way of Ultimate for single player stuff. Like, if you want to play Smash, you play Smash. If you want to play Smash Brothers, but not standard not standard, just me fighting another person, you're kind of out of luck. There is multi-man Smash, and there is World of Light, but World of Light is still you fighting other people. There are bosses, which are fun, but there's nothing like break the targets. There's nothing quite like the melee, even the melee adventure mode, where you can explore like a level or two that isn't just you strictly fighting one other character. We're sort of missing that single player depth, and I would love if Ultimate took a little bit of a return to that stuff, especially in the upcoming 3.0 update, where they, I believe, teased a level maker. People are very analytical with the blurry photos that we were shown in the one trailer we got.
But, okay, here's a fun one, and just totally random. I know you're a fan of Kirby, so why is Kirby so cute, and is he a good boy?
Oh, Kirby's the best boy, thank you. Why is Kirby so cute? Oh my god, he's born, he is a Star Warrior. All the Star Warriors are adorable. Everyone from Meta Knight to Kirby to all the other Star Warriors we see at the end of the Kirby Right Back at Ya anime. All the Star Warriors are amazing and pure, except for the ones that will eventually turn into demonic entities that will take over the entire universe and devour all life, like we've seen from other characters in the Kirby series. Kirby's lore is actually crazy. I forget, there's some YouTube channel, and I feel bad that I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but they make some really, really well-written Kirby lore explanation videos, ones that are very poetically read sometimes. And, oh, I love hearing about what their theory crafting is and how they choose to connect all the dots, because, man, there's some messed up stuff in that lore. It's so funny that Kirby is received the way that he is for how crazy their lore is.
Well, do you have a favorite Kirby game?
Oh, they're all so good. Amazing Mirror, nostalgia glasses on. Amazing Mirror was definitely one of my favorites, just because it was probably one of my first Kirby games, if not the first Kirby game. Definitely the first Kirby game I was really into. Kirby Air Ride, an amazing spin-off. Absolutely adore City Trial, as does everyone who plays that game. World of Light, my favorite Kirby game. Star Allies, I've been loving how it references so many other Kirby games throughout its series. Kirby Superstar Ultra, one of my favorite nostalgic Kirby games. I mean, honestly, Kirby Superstar Ultra is very high up there on my list of Kirby games. I like them all. I love all the Kirby games. They're all so good.
If you could spend a day with Kirby, lay out your agenda.
That's a dangerous agenda. I'm a level with you, man. With what Kirby does in a day, I would like to meet him for 5 minutes in his off time. And then, like, all right, you go back to, fighting the destroyers of the skies, That's not my life. I want a quick photo with him to see what he feels like, so I can actually see if I can end that debate. Because so many people say he feels like Mochi, and I think I would definitely agree. He looks like he would feel like Mochi. But yeah, that would be my agenda. Meet him, maybe eat one meal with him, because that would definitely go on my resume. But outside of that, sounds pretty good to me.
Well, let's move on to talk about some Splatoon. And you mentioned in the beginning, you just absolutely adore Splatoon. So what would you say keeps you coming back for more?
Definitely the aesthetic. Splatoon was the first game for me that really made me fall in love with the world. And I guess that's technically a lie, because that was also with me with Minecraft. And I mean, definitely in Pokemon, I fell in love with that world. But Splatoon sort of sold me that this was like a living, breathing world, with how everything is presented, how the game flows with trends coming in and out for clothing and actual marketing ads and promotional art for specific brands, and having like the Salmon Run schedule and Turf War and League schedule and Rank schedule, like having that kind of a living, breathing game, and the Splatfest and the idol culture that the game has in meeting people at tournaments. Oh my gosh, that game has such a living, breathing design to it that Smash Brothers will never have. A lot of games will never have. Like, there are games that have, like, season cycles and day and night cycles, and those games felt very alive to me at the time. But with how Splatoon works and how it's fun to play multiplayer-wise, and check on Twitter and see, oh my god, all the Splatoon artists are amazing, and see all that art. Such a wonderful game in that specific regard.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of really, really devoted and dedicated and talented artists out there on Twitter that do Splatoon art. I agree.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of Splatoon artists that I follow, and they'll just, like, when I follow them, sometimes, like, a day later, they'll be like, oh my god, at Failboat, will you follow me? Why? And I'm like, you make good art. Like, I just love Splatoon artists. They make so much good art. I don't know why. The Splatoon really rolled the greatest dice when it comes down to artists in the community, because we get so many of them.
Well, speaking of art, do you happen to have a favorite ink color combination?
Off the top of my head, I really adore Splatoon 1's colors of just simply orange and blue. I was a big fan of I think it's yellow and purple was a combination, and those are two of my favorite colors, so definitely dig that one. Plus, whenever I need to take screenshots of my squid, it you know, I was conveniently able to be yellow colored. Outside of that, Splatfest had some good colors. I think we had a gold and silver one recently, or a bronze and silver one recently, so definitely dig that one. Then we also had like ketchup versus mayo. That one was a great time. Oh, I love what the Splatfest brings to the table.
Well, I spoke with Fantastic about this, but what are your thoughts about the future of Splatoon? Will there be a Splatoon 3?
I definitely think there's going to be a Splatoon 3. I was hoping that they were going to add one more big DLC thing at the end of Splatoon 2, but as it's going on and you can clearly see that development is ending, I think that's a lot less likely. They're setting up for something. They're setting up for something big. Definitely with Mr. Grizz. I think Mr. Grizz is going to have a very important role in Splatoon 3, or whatever they end up releasing if it's not, you know, distinctly called Splatoon 3. I don't know if it'll come out for the Switch or the next version of the Switch 3DS. I don't know. They're gonna do a Splatoon 3. Gonna have a Grizz focus, because they even referenced Mr. Grizz in one of the newest Salmon Run maps that has like caution bear sightings written in our English and not in the Inkling Octoling language. We're definitely gonna be seeing a Splatoon 3. It's gonna have a focus on them. I know a lot of people are hoping it has jelly focus. I would love if it focused on the jellies a little bit, but that's my call out.
Well, what sort of features would you like to see into a future Splatoon installment? You mentioned jellies, so do you think there'll be a playable character, maybe, or?
I actually don't have a big call out on jellies. Jellies is just something I've seen around the community, is people being like, make jellies playable. It would be really interesting if Splatoon took the character build kind of route, like a jelly that would be more mobile than a squid, but would die a little bit faster. And then maybe you could play as like a giant crab person or something that, you know, that takes more shots and goes a little bit slower. I think that would be a fun way to make Splatoon feel a little bit more fresh and add a little bit more diversity to what you see in the actual battles. I would personally love to see that. But outside of that, I have no big call-outs. I love when Nintendo surprises me. Nintendo does a great job at that, so I leave it in their very capable hands.
Here's another tough one that I've asked others before, so brace yourself. If you had to choose Callie or Marie, Pearl or Marina, and Judd versus Little Judd, which would you choose between them, individually?
Gotta admit, Judd versus Little Judd, I haven't heard that comparison yet. Going from art, Little Judd is so adorable. I love his little curious face as they show him trying to be like radical or being like the cool kid, but just being so young he doesn't understand what he's doing. I love seeing art of that. Oh, and now comes the really big ones. Let's see. Callie and Marie, Pearl and Marina.
These are the tough questions.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna go with Callie for Splatoon 1, for the Splatoon 1 idols. I love Callie. She's so peppy. She's so happy-go-lucky. I love that kind of a character. Then Pearl and Marina. Oof. That one went back and forth for me for a little bit, because at first I was Marina, then I was Pearl. Then I just sort of settled that they're like an amazing duo in and of itself, and that like one would not function well without the other. End of the day, I'm gonna go Pearl. I like her spunky attitude. I like, oh my god, Nintendo put out such a great promotional artwork, I think, for Smash Brothers recently, that had Marina in like almost esports like gear. She had like a jersey on and had like glasses and GameCube controller, and showed Pearl like fussing over like using a sideways Joy-Con. Oh, I love the duo so much. It pains me to have to pick between them, but Yeah.
Well, I got a few more questions for you, so let's just let's talk about Puyo Puyo. That's
Okay.
That's a franchise that's more popular in Japan. So, how did you first end up getting into it?
Alright, so Puyo Puyo Tetris came about. I saw that as like a demo on the Switch when the Switch didn't have too many games. I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know what Puyo Puyo is. I don't really care about it. I know what Tetris is, but well, I don't care about Puyo Puyo. Then like 5 months later, something like that, some pretty decent like, gap of time, I was like browsing the Switch store, and I'm like, I remember this game from a while ago. I don't know what it is. I'll download the demo. I don't care. And I downloaded the demo, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what Puyo Puyo is about, but this is just Tetris. I might as well play this because it's Tetris. I love Tetris. It's fun. And eventually, I just kept playing Puyo Puyo Tetris. I learned a little bit about Puyo Puyo. But my biggest inspiration in Puyo Puyo Tetris was two people. Etsona, because he made this video saying he cleared 40 lines in just under a minute and a half. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that too. And I'm going to make a call-out tweet about him. My little rivalry with Ets and Puyo Puyo Tetris was so fun. And it was so much fun to try and beat each other's records and whittle down our max score timer for the first to clear or who can clear the 40 line the fastest. We were just whittling that timer down. That was really fun. And the other person I had a lot of fun with Puyo Puyo Tetris with was my roommate Roka. As much as I loved Tetris, he loved Puyo Puyo. So he didn't play like a lick of Tetris, I didn't play like a Puyo, and eventually we bettered each other in our own respective games, and that was a very, very fun time for me. Very fun game, and I never thought I would ever end up sinking any time into, and I'm very glad I did, because Tetris 99 has been a blast to play.
Oh, speaking of Tetris, do you have any tips you would offer Tetris players around the world?
Oh, I personally love to build a 2-wide on the left, like having all my blocks build one giant slab, and keeping the left 2 most columns open. Because then if I ever find like an S block or a Z block that I don't know how to drop, I can just throw it down into the chute there. Line blocks are great for there. Like so many blocks will always fit in that 2-wide. That's how I brain dead sort of play Tetris. That's like the quickest way for me to play if I'm just talking or rambling or I just want to not focus as hard. There are 4-wides. I know 4-wide is something I'm dabbling in right now. T-spins and all that world. That's definitely the optimal way to play the game. But my way of playing 2-wide is definitely one I've stuck to for a long time.
When you first heard about Tetris 99, was your mind blown away by the concept?
Oh, I popped off. It was so... I was like, oh my god, this is going to be the stupidest meme game for like 2 weeks, and then it's never going to be played again, which is a sad thing. It's probably never going to be played again by a lot of people. I personally enjoy it. I think it shot Tetris up into relevancy for a little bit, which is really funny because there's a content creator named Wumbo, and I follow them since Puyo Tetris because I like to learn their strategies, and they were a great example of how Puyo and Tetris can be played. And he went from having pretty lackluster viewership to every stream he did was at bare minimum 2,000 people because he would just win Tetris 99, and he would like never lose. And people would just watch it and be like, oh my god, how is he doing these things? For him, it's like nothing ever changed. He just continues playing Tetris because Tetris never changes. And I think that's just so funny to me, how this game just shot up in relevancy simply because it turned into a battle royale.
Yeah, I saw your Tetris 99 video where you actually ended up facing against him.
That was so wild. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end off that stream because I wasn't sure how I was going to end it because I didn't even get the number 1 to finish it off, and I was like, okay, 9 is good enough. You know, that was actually a charity stream, and I did do the charity donation because my goal was 3 wins in an hour and a half. I got 1 win. And then the next 2 games, I got like 3rd and then 9th. And so I was like, top 10 all 3 games. I was already going to donate the money to charity, but that was a good excuse to be like, all right, sounds good. I'll go all in on it. And then to see that Wumbo was my final opponent, oh, I couldn't have asked for a better ending.
Who is your favorite Pokemon starter?
Oh, wow. Are we talking like all generations?
Yep.
No way I can't nostalgia glasses this, so I'm definitely going to have to say Torchic because I love that little bundle of adorableness. It's so adorable. I remember evolving into Kabuskin for the first time and learning a fighting move, and I'm like, oh, this is sick. And then Blaziken with Sky Uppercut carrying me. Definitely Torchic for sake of my nostalgia purposes. Outside of that, oh god, everyone's in this big debate over the starters right now and saying what their favorites of all generations. I think every starter is like pretty solid. Like people are pooping on Chikorita, and I'm like, man, I love Chikorita. Chikorita's adorable. I love the name Chikorita. I think they're an adorable little puppy that deserves love. Like, there's no starter that I specifically despise or hate. I think Chimchar is a little lackluster for a first evolution, personally, but that's just my take. Would love to see more original typings for Pokemon starters, because firefighting, we all know it, we all hate it, blah, 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 it's the meme. I think last generation they did some good stuff. I think Grass Ghost was a really fun mix-up. Would love to see some more interesting types like that take the scene for a new generation of starters.
Well, last question about Pokemon, and that would be, what would you say is your favorite Pokemon game?
So this is controversial, but the reason I say it's my favorite is because of how I played it. Gotta be Pokemon Moon. So Pokemon Moon was, I do Nuzlocke. Ever since late high school, every Pokemon game that came out, I tried to Nuzlocke, and I tried to. For people who don't know, a Nuzlocke is a challenge version of Pokemon, where if your Pokemon faints, they die, and they have to be either released or stored into a PC, and the first Pokemon you encounter in each route is the only one you can catch, so it kind of limits your selection, and it presents a possible game over situation where you have no other usable Pokemon, and that's where the Nuzlocke dies. So with Pokemon Moon, when I first played Pokemon, I mean, I started off with Pokemon Sun, and I got, like, wiped in, like, the first few sections, in, like, the first or second live stream by, like, the teacher in, like, the tutorial area. She just wiped my starters, and I'm like, okay, well, just done and done. Luckily, I had bought Pokemon Moon for another occasion, and was like, you know, I'm not letting the run die here. We're booting up Pokemon Moon, and boy, am I glad I did that. Because I have never had a game that's had a better, almost viewer-streamer relationship than Pokemon Moon, because it was like its own, like, story. It was like its anime. It was like an anime with how well things were almost, like, scripted. Like, that was the only game I've ever played that where things just straight up felt scripted. Like, I would fight someone who would later become the nemesis of the series, or that Pokemon would become the nemesis of the series, and just by fate, I would just end up constantly fighting that Pokemon. I know people who watched that series became giant fans of that series, just solely because of all the twists and turns and close encounters and Pokemon living by 1 HP just because they loved me enough. Oh my god, my Nuzlocke gameplay of Pokemon Moon, I'm not sure if it's the best Let's Play. I never really watched it back to see what my commentary was like, but definitely from, like, an emotional standpoint, that game pulled at my heartstrings. Pokemon Moon was a fantastic game in that respect.
Well, Fail, I just have one final question before I let you go. And again, thank you so much for this.
No problem, it's been fun.
If you had any advice or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with other aspiring content creators, what would you have to say?
YouTube is in a weird spot right now, because I grew on YouTube about 7-8 years ago, so a lot of my specific advice won't translate as well. My favorite thing, my thing to say, or what I still firmly believe, is you gotta have passion for what you do. You can go out there and you can create, you know, your Fortnite, Apex channels and capitalize on the relevancy of things. I think capitalizing on the relevancy of things isn't the worst way to go. I mean, that's personally how I sort of like to run my Nintendo channel is, you know, whenever a new Nintendo thing comes out, you can find it first on my channel. That's sort of like my branding kind of a thing. That's something I definitely feel should never change. No matter how the algorithm changes, no matter how the website changes, no matter what website we are on, you have to have passion for what you're doing, because you will encounter people who are very good at what they do and are better than you at what they and you do. And usually it's their creativity and their passion for what they're doing that lets them keep getting their leg up. So if you have passion and you have creativity and you have a drive to really further yourself, I feel that will definitely carry over. Don't go into YouTube expecting fame and glory. A lot of people message me about, like, how to become popular, and that's the thing is I don't reply to, because I know they're not in it for the right reasons. It's always good if you want to be popular, sure, go for it. Like give it a shot. Like, I just don't feel that should be your driving motivation. Everyone likes, don't hate yourself for it. Everyone likes to be known or relevant. Everyone likes to be relevant in some way. Don't let that make it seem like it's a bad ambition to be relevant. Or even if you want to do it for money, that's not a bad ambition. Do it for that if you so desire. But I feel if you're just doing it for popularity or just doing it for money, then it's going to become apparent to people as time goes on. Other than that, collaborate, find people with similar virtues, similar desires, similar styles, similar audiences, and that way you can communicate with them and get a little bit of cross-platform action going in. A lot of people I collaborated with the Splatoon in the Splatoon world are just absolutely like the best people. Like Jmoji, Gab, like those guys I absolutely adore. Oh my god, Vian is the nicest person ever. Like Sagasi, oh my god, I love too many to name off the top of my head. But collaborating with people and working with people and finding mutual respect for people who are really trying to get out there, you will find your brothers and sisters in arms in other content creators that are really trying to make things happen. Whether it's a bigger channel, a smaller channel, you will find people that you will vibe with, and the channel will vibe with, and your community will vibe with, and it will only be beneficial to work with them. And sometimes you can shoot for the stars, but I feel it's really good to find other content creators that you can both benefit from working with, and not just in a business sense, but in a personal sense, just good people to work with. That, you know, you would enjoy their company and they would enjoy your company. I feel like that's a good goal, something that people should work towards finding when they're a content creator, and have fun.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Fail. It's truly been a pleasure.
No problem, man. It was an absolute blast.
And on that note, do you have any last words you'd like to say to the audience?
I mean, I think I've pretty much I've said my heart right here. Keep on watching, keep on smiling, keep on laughing. Life's an awesome time. Blah blah blah. You hear it all from me before.
Well, everyone, be sure to check out Failboat on YouTube, and if you see him on any live streams, be sure to tell him Baldy sent you. This has been Failboat. I'm Netball Gamer, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.